Hey everybody, I'm going to do a review on my Easy Screen 500. I want to say it's like a 2000. I was told when I bought it, it was around a 2007 model. I bought it from a Kubota dealership up in northern Maine. They advertised it. I don't think they realized what they had. I bought it very reasonable. I believe I got it for a real good deal, so that was good. Brand new right now. They're a little bit upgraded. They got a double screen now, which I think is a good idea. Still like this one. I do want to get one of the newer versions to do loom with. This makes a pretty good loom. You end up with a little bit of 3/4 rock in it, 1/2 inch rock. The newer one has the double screen, so you end up with a lot better loom. So I'd like to get one, keep it so that I can keep it mobile and take it on job sites with me. This one here I'm going to keep here in the yard just to redo, go through the stuff that I bring home. I tend to recycle everything we bring home now. All the old bark mulch, manure and stuff like that goes through this pretty good. I can mix it into my loom. Ends up being a good product. But I want to show today, a lot of local guys will ask me, hey, do you think you make any money with those a little screener like that? I think for what these cost, compared to the big ones, you can run these with a small Kubota tractor, John Deere tractor, depending. I set this up so that I can run all my loader and bigger tractors. I originally ran this with a B21 Kubota. It's just a little small tractor, little backhoe. Then I was running it with I bought an L2501, which was perfect for it. Once in a while that wouldn't be here and I'd have to try to do it with the loader, and the loader would hit, so I had to lift it up a little bit. So I did the timber thing underneath. I cut some logs up flat, built that base for it, so now anything here I can run it with. So, but anyways, I wanted to show the different, how I end up redoing almost everything I bring home. I reuse. You can make it into 3/4 gravel. Right now I've been doing a lot of jobs where I needed just to clean, like erosion stone, but people wanted natural rock. I do a lot of like nature walks. People up here, I'm in an area of New Hampshire where there's a lot of camps, a lot of lakes. People the last 5 years have been buying farmhouses with like acreage, want walkways put through their property and whatnot. So if there's a stream, they'd rather have natural rock instead of erosion stone. Up here, almost all your erosion stone's granite, so it's a gray look. Some people like it, some people don't. You get crazy with it, like you're using a lot of it, it tends to make your property look a little commercial, like in front of a bank or something would be. I use both. Some people like the look, some people don't. It's easier for me to just use erosion stone because I can get it delivered or whatever. I do keep some on hand, 2 different sizes, but this summer most people have been wanting me to use just a natural rock. I do another thing. I do a lot of camp roads, ditch lines that I just got to throw some rock in. I tend to use the stuff that comes off this screener rather than stuff that you pay $400, $250 a load. Rock has gotten crazy. There was a lot of, it's like the stuff that comes off your screener used to be considered a byproduct. They'd almost give it to you. Now there's a market for it because people like that natural look. You can't buy it. About anything you buy for rock around this area, if you buy a triaxle load, you're talking $400+ with the trucking. Diesel prices are going up crazy. So I think the more I can do at home, the better off I'll be too. This will run all day long, like an 8-hour day, probably on 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons of gas. That's another thing I like about it. So, but I just want to show you some of the product you can make, and when I haul home, like this stuff here came off a job site this spring. This has got a little bit too much clay in it, so you can screen it. It will make a 3/4 gravel, but the problem with that, the first time it rains, you'll pick up a lot. It doesn't get like deep mud, but it will fill the tread of your tire, your shoe. So if a customer gets this and this is your top, it's not going to be a good thing. They're going to get ugly. This is stuff I did a job, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. A lot of that is just 3/4 processed gravel that got pushed off the edge of the road, and I clean the ditches out. If I can keep it fairly clean, I normally bring it home, and that's what that is. This is a job I did last week, putting a driveway in, and like I said, this was clean, so I wanted to save it, but this is just too sandy. But when you got this screener at your house, like, I'll mix these three together as I'm screening, grab a couple buckets of each, put it in that pile over there. You'll end up with a real nice 3/4 gravel. So like I said, the last 2 or 3 jobs I've had, I've really needed some of this round rock. Didn't have to be super clean. This is kind of like dirty because I did this the other day when it was raining. So but overall it's pretty clean rock. You can, if you're doing like a sandy material like this one over here, you can end up with stuff like this pile. Stays fairly clean. Like I said, this is stuff you bring home off job, you dig out of ditch lines and stuff like that. But I try to, this is what I do if you have something I like about this small one. The big ones on a rainy day, you try to do something with a lot of clay or loam, and they stick and the screen gets full. For whatever reason this doesn't, that tends to be when I use this, is on a rainy day, and it doesn't clog up. It you know, filters out through pretty good. I'll go over here and show you the product. When you mix these three together, you'll end up with a pretty good 3/4 gravel. Like I said, this is a good base to put on I do a lot of like camp road stuff, driveways, long driveways, you know, nature walks. This is a good base to put in a trail system. You see, a good base to put underneath a driveway too. I'll put like a foot of this in, and then I'll go over it with like 6 inches of the processed gravel. But like I said, I've been doing this, I don't know, like every few days. If it rains or whatever, I'll come up here for like an hour and a half in the morning, and I've needed the rock off this anyway, so I come up, do it in the morning, try to get a couple 1-ton loads of rock to take with me, and I end up with this 3/4 gravel by doing it. So it works out good for me. This is fairly clean. There was a lot of roots and stuff in it, but for what I'm going to do with it this week, it's what I need. I'm just kind of I got a swampy area. I got to get in off the road, make like a landing, and then I'm going to actually create an area where the water can flow through in the spring when the snow melts off. So I'm just going to push it into the ground with my excavator bucket, make like a ditch line. But we'll show you, I'm going to show you some of it going through the screener, and like I said, how I mix it. And I just want to do a quick review on the Easy Screen 500. A lot of local guys, I got a couple logging guys that will buy this stuff from me too. They use this for their landings. A lot of times homeowner doesn't want a big landing left when they leave from doing their logging, but you do a base with this, you can normally do an area big enough to get their chippers and stuff in. So same thing, they don't want to, you're buying erosion stone like that. Triaxle load of this right now is anywhere from $350 to probably $450, depending on how big the truck is. I mean, triaxle, some of them haul 3 or 4 yards more than others, so you buy it by the ton. This is the smaller stuff, that's the bigger stuff. But logging guys don't like buying this just for like a one-time use, so they'll call me and see if I get any of this. If I do, I normally deliver it. It's a good way for me to get rid of it. But like I said, again, this is a machine that makes product that's a sellable product now, once you separate it. So you end up with gravel out of it, you end up with this rock. Just there's a lot of different uses for it. Pretty much has paid for itself quite a few times since I bought it. The first year I bought it, I bought it that summer because I had a job where I really had to go through some material on a job site. I felt at the end of that summer that thing had paid for itself in that one-time use. So I've never really had an issue with it. I think I put a universal in the shaker once. The motor's the same motor. I do, if I use it a lot in the summer, I try to change the oil once in the midsummer. Another secret I think with these Honda motors is it's expensive, but I use the Honda oil. I'll guarantee that motor's got more hours than what Honda said it was good for on it. And you think about this thing's vibrating all the time. If something was going to take a motor out, it would be it. So it still runs good. That will sit. What I'll do today is probably going to be the last time I use it before I cover it up for the winter. I'll run it out of fuel today, then I'll put true fuel in it. Next spring when I start this will probably start in 2 to 3 pulls. Ever since I've done the thing where I run it out, put true fuel in it, I'll run it for like 5 or 10 minutes, shut it off, cover it up. Like I said, springtime comes, it starts in 3 pulls. So that's what I do with all my small engine stuff now. But the Easy Screen 500, there's a lot of other brands that make these small ones. I think this is probably the best built. You can buy these new now with the Honda motor. I believe you can get it with a Kubota diesel on them now. This is the smallest one I think they ever made. Then they go up, they make a 600 or 700. Then they make all the way up to like the big ones with conveyor belt systems on them and everything. But I think it's a pretty decent company. Another thing I like is the screen. I got this with a 2-inch screen, and I think that's an 1 by 3/4 inch screen. I called them up and they said, yeah, you pretty much probably 3 days because of the trucking and stuff. They're kind of like in the middle of the country, so middle of the United States. So it just takes a few days to get it shipped here because because of the weight, they have to ship it on a truck. But like I said, another thing I like about this company, they stopped making this model, but you call them up. I had to replace one of the springs. I had it in 2 days, so I ended up replacing the 4 springs on the hang that hangs the table. But there's screens, they're like, nope, we have them right in stock. You'll have it probably in 2 to 3 days after you order it. So I'm going to order another 2-inch and another, I think I'm going to do a 1-inch and a 3/4 inch for the loom. And I do plan on buying one of their new versions of this. It has the double screener table. I've watched the videos on it. I like it. It's a big investment. You know, so I'm a small company, so. But that's the one I want to take on the road with me. This one here I plan on keeping stationary. So, but we'll do some videos of it working.
Another thing I want to say too, this stuff's pretty damp. We've been getting a lot of rain the last few weeks. This is like any screener. It does work better when, like, if you're lucky enough to do this on a real dry day and the stuff's real dry, any of this gravel like basically falls right through it. You'll see it's a little bit of a struggle how I'm feeding it. A lot of people think I use it backwards because I feed it from this side, but I like watching how I feed it basically. So I don't want to overload it, where if you're loading it from the other side, a lot of people just dump and then you end up re-screening a lot, or you end up with like a real dirty product coming off of it. I like it so that the rock gets separated pretty good. So I've always fed this off this side. It doesn't seem to hurt, but I've had people question, why do I feed it from this side? The 500, I think they make up 5 or 6 or 700 series. These are good for people with like the small Kubota, small John Deere, Bobcat. I like them. I just think I'm a guy that has the smaller equipment. The biggest thing I've ever owned, I think, is I had a big Cat backhoe. I got rid of that last year. This loader now is probably the biggest thing I got. It's a 430, Kubota 430 loader. Other than that, I got a couple farm tractors. This thing, you can buy it brand new. I want to say the brand new version of this with the double screen, I think it's like 22.8 with trucking delivered anywhere in the United States. But if you think about the money you can make, I look at it like I made that pile of gravel in the last week and a half because I was doing jobs where I needed this stone. Rather than go to a quarry or a crushing place and buy it, I had it here. I ended up with the other product to sell next year. You look at that and say, oh, you know, guys that do big construction, oh, they ain't that big of a pile. But for a small guy like me, I deliver that probably 2 to 3 yards at a time on a 1-ton dump. So not only am I getting a product for free to sell that's sellable, I get the trucking out of it and everything. So for a small landscape company like me, these things can really make you some money. All right, that's the last of that pile. I probably end up with 26 to 28 yards of gravel, and this is enough rock that I need for that job this week coming. But I'll end the video here. And like I said, I just wanted to get it out there. You know, guys that are afraid to buy these smaller pieces of equipment, this is something that will make you, even if you bought this new for the 22, 23, 24,000 range, I think it's a good piece of equipment. Especially if you have land where you've got material that you can process through it. So, but someone that had farmland, this would be a good addition to equipment. I think cleaning up, like even farms that do a lot of food planting, this will clean up the soil. All right, that's going to end the video. Appreciate you watching.